Alright guys, so in this video I'm going to be installing the M-Carbo Pro Trigger Spring Return Kit on a Savage Axis. There's plenty of videos out there. This is something I've been wanting to upgrade for a while, just haven't really thought to do it because this is generally just my hunting rifle. I don't really use it for anything else other than that, but I do go out and kind of do some target shooting. I like to try and shoot out 300-400 yards, and it's just going to make it a little easier having a lighter trigger pull because these are notoriously pretty heavy from the factory due to them just being like a sporter rifle, very entry budget friendly rifle. As you see, this one's a little different, kind of a DIY paint job on there. This is all just Krylon. It's been on there for 10 plus years. So you can see back here, it's kind of chipping a little bit right around here where my hand's resting, everything like that. And then around where the bolt's at. But just to show you, rifle is clear. Remove the magazine. Obviously this is not kind of like your standard magazine that most of them come with. This is something I had made, so I don't know if you can see, but right there, this was a box mag for HKG3. I had a friend, he kind of reached out to me, said he can make those, and he took the stock magazine for the Savage Axis that you can see up here, which is the standard 3-round, and somehow mated it together. I can fit 12 rounds in here, but generally I really don't even load it up with more than 5. But if I do, I try and keep it right around 10 rounds. I don't want to wear anything down. This is the only magazine I have. Uses the factory follower, everything like that. So it's actually pretty cool. I definitely have to try and get more of those, or try and just figure out how to make it myself because this is something I'd be pretty interested. I paid like $4 for a surplus G3 mag, and then sent him that in the factory mag, and he charged me 35 bucks. So I thought it was pretty cool, definitely worth it. So as you can see, empty, there's nothing in there. This is just a Vortex Crossfire 2. It's the 4-18 by 44. Works pretty well, has the illuminated reticle. So out hunting, that black reticle on some targets, because I do some bear hunting and stuff, black reticle on a black bear doesn't show up very well, so it's nice to have the option to kind of turn that on and get a little red dot where you're aiming. But moving forward, this is it. She's old, like I said, at least 10 years old. This is like a super DIY monopod that I threw on there, and I ended up moving the sling mounting point to the side of the stock. And a cheap bipod, honestly, couldn't even tell you what it is. But it works, it does its job, it does its purpose, and it's a pretty decent hunting rifle. So this is the return spring kit. You can see the new spring there, and it came with some shims because these have some side-to-side play on the trigger, which I'll try and get a video of that so you can see what I'm talking about if you guys haven't messed with one of these. I got this rifle bare bones, maybe 280 bucks on sale one year. No, this one did not come with an optic. This optic's only, I don't know, $150 or so. You can find them pretty cheap, especially during the holidays. But it's a pretty easy install. You have a 3/32 hex key that you'll need, 5/32, and that should really be it. I got a little screwdriver kit here. I'm going to use a little flathead, just because there's a retaining clip on there that you'll need to get off, and then some blue Loctite, just for putting everything back together. That way nothing gets any looser than what it is, or than what it needs to be. So starting out, we'll kind of, like I said, empty. We'll kind of get some trigger pulls, see where it's coming in at. Generally around 5.5, 6.5 pounds. They kind of float around in there. So we'll see what this comes up with. So that one's saying 4 pounds, 15 ounces, so pretty close to 5. We'll do a couple more. Four pounds, 15 ounces. And we'll do one more just to see where it's at. 5 pounds, 2 ounces. So Not terrible, not great. Definitely good for a sporting rifle out the factory. It's good enough. It's going to shoot. It's going to kill animals if that's what you're looking to do. So trying to lower that down. This is down to 3.5 pounds. So we'll see. We'll get this installed and we'll do another check and see where that trigger pulls at. All right, so we'll kind of start with a little bit of disassembly. Take the bolt back, squeeze the trigger, push down on the little lever, slides all the way out. Pretty simple. Just set it off to the side so it's out of the way. All right, so down here, carefully do this so I'm not banging the scope around. 2 screws. This is where you take the 5/32. We'll tighten that thought. Break those free. Now there is a short one and a long one. The longer one's going to be in the rear of the firearm. So there's a longer screw. And this thing is definitely due for cleaning as well. I've taken it out a couple times this season for hunting, shot some rounds through it, so definitely needs some TLC. And then that's the shorter one, so you can see the size difference. Remember, long one rear, short one front. All right, this trigger guard, it's going to come out on an angle and then you can pop it out. There is a square locking block right there. I don't know how well you can get a look at that, but it's going to slide into the stock right where your hand would rest, and then you should be able to just gently pull this apart. And you see there's some old paint that wore off. Probably need to redo all this, get it cleaned up. Let me get this camera adjusted. So that factory spring that we're going to be replacing is this one right here. So it's not too difficult. There's this retaining clip right here. That's what I was talking about, where you need that screwdriver. You can use a large one and push on both sides and pry it out. I'm going to take this smaller one and just kind of get it right into that corner and then pop it out. But yeah, I'm going to get this camera adjusted and kind of zoom in. Hopefully you guys can get a better angle at it and see what I'm doing. All right, so in the kit, I guess I didn't realize, but there's a 2.5 pound, a 1.5 pound, and a 3.5 pound trigger return spring. I'm probably going to start out with the 3.5 pound spring, see where that's at, get used to it. And if I want to go lighter, I obviously have the option of going all the way down to 1.5 pounds. But for something that's going to be primarily used as a hunting rifle, that's a little light. Don't want it like an accidental discharge if I get hung up on some hunting gear or anything like that. So 3.5 pounds I think will be pretty good. And we'll kind of go through there. Got the grease. And these 2 washers right here. These are going to be used to fix that kind of side-to-side play that's in that trigger. And then this is the Overtravel screw. So you'll put that in there, put the spring over. But kind of taking a look at this. Try and zoom in just a little bit for you guys. So looking at it, that's that side-to-side play. So those washers are going to eliminate that movement, or at least minimize it the best they can. So that's what you're going to be taking out right there. There's like some waxy substance in there. You'll have to try and scrape that out of there. So we're going to start with just removing this clip. And you got to be careful with these. They are under a little bit of tension. So use your fingers just kind of as like a little guide for them to stop. But that's a little kind of like C-clip. Pop that right up here, this little dish, so don't lose that. And then you'll be able to just kind of push that pin through. There's that pin, put it right up here. And that's it, there's the trigger. So not too bad, it's pretty simple. This is that that factory spring, you can see it's pretty stiff. It's not terrible, but lighter is always nicer to have. See if I can get it compared to that 3.5. So looking at the 3.5 pound, still a little stiff, but has a little more play than this one. This one's pretty firm. And this screw is just going to back out of there. Like I said, that waxy substance on there kind of holds it in place. So can be a little challenging. I'm going to get this taken off, kind of grind out some of that wax right there. Or not grind out, scrape it out. And then, yeah, once I get that off, we'll keep moving along. All right, so I got that factory spring out of there. What I did with this to help get some of that wax out was just run it through this way. What you want to do, though, when you're getting ready to install it, obviously add a little bit of Loctite on there. And then you're run it in through the bottom section of it. You're pretty much going to do it all the way until it's flush. Just so if you're running any aftermarket stocks or anything like that, you have plenty of clearance. You don't have to worry about issues like that, because most of those are probably going to have a little bit tighter tolerances. So you just work that in. You still see some of that old wax coming out of there. But just so it's right about flush. I don't know, well, you guys can see that there. I get a rag, wipe off the excess. But so it's about the same level as the other screw that's right here on the right, just to make it easy. And I'm not running aftermarket stock, so I don't have to worry about any of that stuff. All right, so now you're gonna want to get a little bit of grease. Put a dab on this side, put a dab on this side. Put a little bit more on there. Too much can't hurt anything. You can always wipe off the excess. And this makes it super convenient to pick up these washers and set them in place. And then add a little bit more grease to the outside of the washers. Just so when you're putting it in, everything's nice and smooth. Wipe this off. All right, so you got the new spring. It's gonna sit right over here. It doesn't screw in or anything like that like the factory spring does, so you gotta be a little more careful, but it's not too bad. Let's see. All right, cool. So I'm just using another hex key. I'm pretty much gonna use it as like an alignment pin, just to help put that in there for the install. So right at the bottom, oh well, you can see it right in here, but that's where the spring is gonna sit. See if I can get this one off. Yeah, so now the spring is gonna sit right in the base of that. I put a little bit of that grease in there already, but it'll sit like that. So when the trigger is rocking back and forth, making a mess over here. Zoom this out a little bit. All right, so helps if you got the spring on there. Just gonna use a finger, hold the spring on there, set it down in there, that little detent, and hold these washers in place and just gently work them down. So what I'm doing with this, I'm just gonna put it in here to help align everything. Just like so. And that way I can come back through with this pin. Just gonna work it through this way as I'm slowly pushing out that hex key. You're gonna have to work it a little bit just because of the size difference between the hex key. but it's not too bad. You see, it already went through. I pushed all the way through, and then grabbing this little retaining ring again, placing it on there, and I'm going to try and use this screwdriver and just gently push it back into place, using my fingers as kind of a guide. Can be a little tricky sometimes, but once you get it started, they generally just kind of snap into place. So that should be on there. What I'm gonna do is just kind of rotate it around a few times just to make sure it's not gonna come flying off, anything like that. Wipe off this excess grease. And you can kind of see the those little spacers right there, but once it's inside the rifle, you're not gonna be able to see anything like that. All right, so now over to slapping it back together. There's this notch right here. There's a little recoil lug that's inside the stock. Mine's brown, it's supposed to be silver. I painted over all of it. Yeah. It's all chipping away. I need to get this thing just cleaned up again and probably redone. So make sure everything's nice and snug. And then when reassembling, remember that square lug that's in the back goes into the stock first. And then you're gonna take the long screw, go into the rear, once I get this one snugged up, I'll turn it around so you guys can see it. All right, so I'm gonna throw a little bit of Loctite on this one that's going up front. I'll take that back one off after the video, but just to get this finished up so you guys can see. Snug this one up. All right, so now that that's all back together, it's time to put the bolt in. So you're just gonna line up Savage, the logo goes up, get it started, pull the trigger, push this button down, slides right in. So just kind of feel for the trigger. Oh, that's nothing compared to what it was. Get that out of the way. Yeah. Significantly lighter, just by feeling it with my finger. We'll pull out the gauge and see what this is saying. All right, it's all zeroed out. .35, so pretty much right on the money. We'll do it again. .349, and one more. .353, so not bad. Pretty much right on the money with what it said. So that's pretty much it for the install of the M-Carbo trigger spring. If you guys want to know anything else about the rifle, if you have questions about the Optic, the bipod, probably not that, but or this magazine, I know I made an older video long time ago. I had plenty of questions on there, but I'll see what I can figure out about this and how it was constructed. I'm not quite sure what he used to actually mate the two magazines together, or what he did with the spring, but I could definitely make a future video on this, taking it apart, disassembling and whatnot, if that's something people are interested in. But yeah, just leave comments down in the comment section, and I'll try to get back to you guys if you guys want to see any other content, or if you guys just have general questions about what I did with this rifle, or anything like that, if you guys want to see future videos. So I don't make anything off the videos. You know, one day maybe that'd be awesome, but that's not what I'm here for. I post my Amazon links down there, make small commission, you know, I gotta say that. And it's pretty obvious when people are sharing links and stuff like that, but just some of the things that I use, whether it's a little toolkit or this digital gauge right here. But yeah, if you guys can, you know, give me a like, subscribe, anything like that. If you guys buy from the Amazon links, that's awesome, greatly appreciated. All right, take care.